Hey everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. Today is our day for our garden tour and walkabout, and I have to tell you it is really quite dry. We haven't had any rain since the last time that I talked with you, so it's been a few weeks now, but the garden is looking all right. There are some spots where it looks horrible and there are some spots where it looks better. The tour is going to be a little bit shorter today because I'm getting ready to head off to my sister's 50th birthday party. So let's take a look at the garden now. Well, I haven't gotten to attack the potager yet, but I wanted to show you something that's going on here, which is I've got a reblooming iris. I'm so excited. I've never had one that has bloomed again for a second time during the year, and this one is absolutely gorgeous. This one, I don't know if this one is pagan dance or something else. Again, I'm not sure where the tag is on this one. I'll have to look it up because I'm really thrilled that it's blooming a second time. I just can't tell you. I did actually even come out in water today because even the Virginia right here was completely limp against the rocks. And I'm even losing some of them. You can see the browning of it because of how dry it's been. I mean, not only has it been in the mid 80s and hot and dry, it has been windy. So the wind just kind of comes through and desiccates things as it does. This lavender looks really lovely. It's huge, and I'm going to need to cut that back when I come through the potager and do that cleanup. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. That's my goal, and I want to be able to take you guys along with me when I do that because I think it'll be a great before and after. Well, this garden bed over here looks pretty nice because the mums are blooming really well now. This area gets partial sun. It faces the east, and I will tell you that these mums are finally starting to bloom, and they look really lovely with this russet sage coming through and the little limes behind it. Well, our candy coral berries over here are looking pretty with their little pink berries on them right now, and they will for a little bit until we actually get some rain and they start to kind of shrivel up and turn black. And then that's when I don't really like them. So we haven't gotten around to digging these out and changing them yet because I haven't found what I want for this area yet. And I definitely want to make sure that it's something that I like. I haven't also decided whether I want it to be matchy-matchy, like look exactly the same on both sides of the shed, or if I'm okay with doing something that's kind of more asymmetrical. So our Tiantian 7 sunflowers are completely done blooming now. Again, because of the heat, they actually kind of gave up rather quickly one day, and you'll see they lost so many petals. They actually have covered the ground in all of the little blooms. They just suddenly stopped blooming and shed right like that. It only took about 2 days of the hot weather and that dry wind. Also, I'm going to show you, because this is a real garden, that my pots on the end of the pool look horrible. The bog ice rosemary is definitely not going to be a winner for overwintering. It got way too much rain and then so much hot and dry. I don't know if those are going to come back. I did water them earlier today. This garden bed looks pretty good. I have been amazed how long this Black Prince snapdragon has bloomed this summer. Just kind of kept blooming and blooming. It's getting a little out of control though, so that needs to be cut back a bit. And it may even put on more blooms yet this year. Now when we clean out the potager, I'm probably not going to get to this spot because it's really, really wild right now. And so my goal is to tame those other beds that are back there where the tomatoes are growing and the irises. The arborvitaes though continue to bring a nice cool feeling to the garden because they are so nice and lush and green looking all of the time. So I'm really happy with how healthy they have stayed pretty much the entire time that I've had them. Every once in a while I get a patch that gets frozen over the winter time and then it looks really ugly in the spring, but right now they look beautiful. And despite some of the browning on these hydrangeas and them being a bit desiccated right now, I do think this area is still really pretty. I did come through and do some watering on the Scarlet O'Hara Pieris today, as well as the hellebore that's back here because they were looking a little bit worse for the wear. And I do need to come through and mulch this entire bed. But you can just see I've got lots of crackling, crunchy leaves that are beneath my feet right now, unfortunately. Even the Pinky Winky is looking desiccated today. We are supposed to get rain tomorrow. I certainly hope so. But I probably will come out tomorrow and water this. This is what a hydrangea, that's a paniculata hydrangea, looks like when it is just so tired and dry. Its leaves droop like that, and you'll see some of the inner leaves turning yellow. So it'll be fine, totally fine. It's just a bit stressed right now. I did have a friend over today as well in the garden, which was fun, and she just got a new house, and so I gave her a bunch of plants, including the phlox that was right here. And so we're going to move the bloomstruck hydrangea over here, probably in another video, and I'm looking forward to doing that just to give it a little bit more spacing from the little haughty hydrangea here, and to allow it to have a little bit more room to grow. And I think it's going to look beautiful up against this stump, because eventually this stump will not be there. It will take many years for it to not be there, but I'm just letting it kind of decay on its own. I think it's great for the garden. So yeah, I think that'll be really pretty when we get that moved. Thankfully, the greenery that is back behind here is doing pretty good, although I did give that some spritz of water as well. But even the bird bath is already empty from water, and that was full earlier today when I watered this morning. This hydrangea too was very stressed this morning and had its leaves just like the Pinky Winky, but you can tell it's revived incredibly well. So just know that if your hydrangea looks like that, it's not too late to help it, you know, kind of recover a bit just by giving it a nice drenching of water. This can-do hydrangea, I just wanted to point out how beautifully these blooms have aged. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors on them. I've just left them in place, and I probably will do so again in future years just because of how gorgeous they are. Our false cypress over here is doing great. I think it's actually put on some new growth since it's been in the garden. It is the one that's underneath of this cloche right here. And I am just going to keep the cloche there because it seems to be like nothing's gone under it to be digging in there or anything like that. So I think it's doing a little something to protect it. And we're starting to get a little bit of tinges of pink on this tiny quick fire right here, which is so cute. And all of the alyssum looks fantastic that is in the ground over here. It took a while for it to take off this year, but it is just gorgeous now along this border. We still have some nice fall color on this azalea back here that we moved, and I'm loving it. It's much brighter than it was in its former spot. It was more brown, so. Just look at all the buds on this pieris. That is going to be gorgeous when it blooms. I was really worried that these were going to actually bloom this fall instead of late winter, early spring, but I think they're going to be okay. Now you can see some of the browning that's happening on the hostas because they're so dry as well. Hopefully tomorrow we will start to get a little bit of recovery in the garden because I'm hesitant to do any moving of the plants or, you know, any dividing right now because the ground is so dry. Like all of these hydrangeas over here that face west and are getting the hot western sun are just looking horrible right now. I don't even want to show them to you, but like this is a real garden, so that's what they look like. I have not done any deadheading on this buddleia, and I'm trying to decide if I'm actually going to keep them in here. This is actually 4, and they're getting actually so much bigger in the soil over here than they were in the other part of the garden I had them in. So I may have to dig up a few of them. I just didn't expect them to get so much bigger in this part of the garden. I'm getting a few new blooms on this strawberry Sunday hydrangea. I don't know if they'll actually bloom or not though, because of the fact that it's been so dry. This one looks kind of like it's doing okay, not quite as stressed as some of the other ones, but I think the thing that looks the best right now in the entire garden are the mums. Thankfully, they are doing really well despite all of the heat. Just look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a really deep color of orange. It's not super bright, and I just love it. It starts out really kind of dark and it gets a little bit lighter as time goes on. And I think it's just a really nice pop this time of year when nothing else is really going. I mean, all of the hydrangeas are starting to turn that kind of parchment paper brown. Although the sedum autumn joys do look pretty good over here. So yeah, you can just see all of that beautiful orange with the mums in this border. That viburnum is going to look gorgeous in the spring if we get lots of flowers on it because it's so much bigger. It really grew a lot wider. It's supposed to be 6 by 8 or 8 by 8 at the biggest, and I think it's probably just about there. But who knows how big it will really get in my garden. You just never know. Based on plant tags, things definitely can get bigger or not get as big as they say. Here's another giant mum that's looking beautiful. And the candu is getting closer to opening its buds. I think it just really needs some water. So hopefully when we get the rain tomorrow, that will help it along. You can see some signs of stress with the curled leaves on it. But it's doing really well. It's also got a little bit of purple on the leaves. That's a little bit of sun stress and also from the cool nights. Oh, there's the bunny. I don't know if you can see him back in there. He's trying to hide from me. Now over in this garden bed, you can see we have the white mums, and those are looking really pretty. I just love them. They're so clean and fresh looking. Compared to some of the things that are going dry right now. And there are some that are back over here as well. Those haven't opened up quite as much because they're in the shade. Hi, bunny. All right, let's head into the front garden. Well, the heat and lack of water have not seemed to faze the burning bush or the snowball viburnum much here, so they're doing really well, as are the royal ferns over here that just have maintained their greenery really well throughout the summer. Let's take a look at these beautiful Cheyenne sky grasses. They're so wispy. I just love the way that they kind of filter the view there. Aren't those pretty? I did plant I think this is the Pugster periwinkle right here. It's still putting out some blooms. This is its first year in the garden. I planted that last fall. And you can see some of the mums have gone over in this garden bed. Some of them kind of melted in all of the heat and the rain. But I think we're going to get some more because I see plenty of buds still on these mums. So if we get that rain tomorrow, I think we're going to get another flush of some blooms. We have some beautiful asters here, which are kind of struggling also because of the heat and the lack of rain. I wish I could have shown you these Gara. Just a couple days ago, they were covered in blooms as well, but now they have lost them. Again, things are just looking a little bit tired because of Like, look at my crabapple, you guys. It looks horrible. It's lost half of its leaves. The junipers, though, are happy. They're doing just fine. They don't mind all of this dry weather. But these mums look great. So let's take a look at these. These mums are huge and they look amazing at the end of this garden bed, just glowing in the sunshine, looking like some giant pumpkins at the end here, huh? I love those. Definitely a pop of color at a time when everything else is not so bright. I'm actually getting some new growth on some of the clematis. We have a new bloom here on this one, and I see some additional buds on it as well. Nothing amazing going on this side of the front garden bed, but let's take a look at the other side because it looks beautiful right now from my perspective because of the gorgeous mums that we have here. Right, we've got some of the purple mums along with these giant orange mums, and then the colors on the jet stream oak leaf hydrangea are starting to come out. I think that's just a beautiful fall color picture right there. And you can see this oak leaf hydrangea is having a little bit of struggle, but it's doing okay. I mean, I've been really impressed with how well it's done during this heat. It could be so much worse. The bobos have browned up completely now. They definitely like to have more moisture than they have right now. So we'll see how they do, hopefully tomorrow. Again, my fingers are crossed for tomorrow. I can definitely relate to those of you who have gone through some drought at this point. In fact, the front side of this garden looks really bad. You can see the hostas here, even though they're on the north side of this garden bed, are just fried. It's a shame. But that's just what they look like right now, so. Now, other than the fact that the deer have eaten quite a few of the hostas, you know, and they still remain sticks, the hostas in the front of the garden here look great. And the hellebores have held up well. There is one hosta that's really kind of struggling more than others, I would say. This variegated one right here, I think it just requires a little more moisture than some of the others. But I'm still really enjoying our blue corner over here, as are the bumblebees. It's kind of blue and purple. It's a very beautiful hazy color, and it's just getting better as these grasses get bigger here. And now that the lavenders have been blooming, take a look at this. What is that? Is that a baby mantis? I don't know what that is. It's an interesting looking bug. Our small garden bed over here is doing well. Looks pretty much the same as it did last week, I think, which is a good sign because that means it hasn't lost any vigor. But I think that the grasses and their plumes are getting a little bit stronger now because they're kind of aging, and so they're turning that tan color, which is beautiful. Again, the junipers just seem to be doing quite fine during this dry spell here. And even though it's dry, the grass is still hanging in there. I think it'll be okay for a couple more days if we didn't get rain, but after that you can start seeing some of the brown come through. I don't know if you can see the blue better from this angle or not, but I thought I'd show it again. Just love the way that looks. I think next year it will be even better. I hope so. Love the colors along here. Again, just still holding strong with these phlox and the verbena and the mums over here. Some of them are starting to go over, but I have a whole nother mum that's out front right here that hasn't even opened yet. So obviously we're going to get more color for a little bit more time, which is fantastic to me. And then this bird bath looks great. This is one of those garden beds that I don't have to do a ton to. Really, I just have to deadhead the hostas when I come through here after they bloom. And other than that, it really takes care of itself quite well. I mean, in the spring, I do have to cut back the grass, but and a little bit of clipping on the boxwoods, but it's so simple to care for, and it just looks gorgeous. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you guys, I have a tomato that's going to turn red. I don't know if anything's going to get it. Something might eat it before tomorrow. That was the rabbit. But I think I'm going to pick it because I'm going to pull these tomatoes when I come through here tomorrow and clean up. And there's the pool with Turtle Boy and some of the planters that are behind him. The planters are doing okay, but I've had to do quite a bit of watering on those this week as well. So I'm probably gonna have to pull some things out of those planters and maybe change them out a little bit for fall, or leave them with a little bit less in them. So yeah, that's what we're up to right now. And I think things are overall looking pretty good. How are things going in your garden? Have you gotten rain? Is it hot where you are, or are you already into fall? Let me know down in the comments. I always look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.